What's up friends, my Sony A1 Mark II finally showed up today and I thought I would unbox this with you guys and talk about why I bought it. And I sold a ton of gear to afford this thing. I actually haven't bought a main camera in about 4 years when the A7 IV came out. So after all of these cameras that I've been reviewing from Sony, I'm always jealous that they have that AI autofocus, and I always wish that I would have that in my camera, which I have not had in my camera until now. And I did consider buying a Sony A7R V, but then I changed my mind because I feel like this has no compromises. Now there's obviously nothing wrong with the A7R V, it's an amazing camera, but I know that if I was gonna be shooting a lot more video, that I'd probably regret getting that instead of this. Yeah, so I'm gonna stop talking, let's unbox this thing. Now, when I got a chance to try this out in New York at the launch event, I knew right then that I wanted this camera because it's so good. Okay, so right off the top, we got the HDMI clamp. This also comes with the A7S III. This just locks in your HDMI cable so that it doesn't pull out of the camera as easy as it normally would. In here, we got something in this little paper baggie. All right, I forgot. So the A1 Mark II comes with 2 eye cups. Now this, I think, is the more extended, longer version. That way it just kind of seals out a bit more light versus the normal one that comes with it. So I will probably just keep the normal one that comes on it. But it's nice to know that it comes with 2 for whatever reason. Super simple box here. I kind of miss the black and orange boxes, but I guess they're going white, which maybe saves ink and is more environmentally friendly. So here's all the warranty stuff. Nobody cares about that. All right, so right off the top, we got the A1 Mark II strap. This looks a little thicker than your typical A7 strap. Could be wrong, I don't typically use a strap, so that'll probably just stay in the box. What else we got in here? All right, so this camera actually comes with a charger, and not just one charger, a dual charger. So this is pretty dope. This actually feels heavy. I guess it's plastic. It kind of feels like metal. It's just USB-C charging. You don't get the wall charger for it, but you get dual chargers, which is cool. You have to be rich in order to get a Sony charger in your camera box. This will definitely come in handy. I don't know if I need, it's actually a pretty compact charger. I was gonna say I don't think I need one, but this could stay in your camera bag and it doesn't take up much space. And then we got a battery. Always good to have a new fresh battery. Yeah, I'm just getting too many things on the table here. Maybe I'm gonna put some of the stuff back in the box. I'm probably gonna keep this battery out and I'm gonna take the camera out here. So here it is, the A1 Mark II. Nice. Yeah, so this is the newer body design. This has the more round, smooth looking body. This obviously has that awesome new screen, the 4-axis tilting, rotating touchscreen. This is probably my favorite thing Sony's come out with, and I'm glad that it's starting to make its way into more cameras. It started with the A7R V, and it's now in the A9 Mark III and the A1 Mark II, and I have a feeling it's gonna be coming out in every camera moving forward. Now, I still work in the industry. I'm not just doing YouTuber life. I work with a lot of musicians. I still shoot a lot of commercial jobs, and I need a reliable, high-performing camera. And up until now, I've been rocking the A7S III and the A7 IV as my main setup. And although those are great cameras, they fall short in a few different areas. And I feel like Sony's newer stuff is so much better, especially when it comes to autofocus. I think it's time to upgrade, and this just makes the most sense to me, especially when Sony is coming out with these newer lenses, and I always have to ask for a newer camera body to be sent with it so that I can review that lens. I now have pretty much the best camera that Sony makes. So that's gonna make things a lot easier. Plus, it's also just a great end of year business write-off. And speaking of business, today's sponsor is Honeybook. As a photography business owner, if you're like me and you're juggling shoots, emails, contracts, invoicing, you know, it can feel like total chaos sometimes, especially when things get super busy. It's a streamlined client management platform designed for small businesses, which is perfect for photographers or filmmakers. With Honeybook, you can pretty much handle everything from inquiries to payments. So no more bouncing between apps or different websites, trying to remember which client said what. And honestly, this is exactly what I need. Because no one taught me how to run my business, I kind of just figured it out on my own. I've got a cobbled together workflow, and I've been using multiple apps. I've been using Apple Notes and different emails, and it's pretty old school and pretty embarrassing to talk about, which is why I'm kind of excited to show you HoneyBook. HoneyBook lets you create professional proposals in minutes. If you need a contract signed, boom, send it off. It's signed and it's stored digitally. You can even automate follow-ups or reminders, so no more chasing clients to get paid. If you know, you know. And of course, it's not just for photographers. There are a bunch of different tailored business categories. It makes it incredibly versatile because you can set it up for different businesses. Even my management team uses HoneyBook to schedule incoming and outgoing brand deals. They also manage the contracts, which keeps things nice and organized. So if you've got big goals for 2025, HoneyBook wants to help you achieve those with their January Jumpstart giveaway. If you want to try it out, you can check out the link in my description to get a free trial. And you'll also get a chance to win a $10,000 prize pack, which comes with a bunch of resources and tools. That'll help kickstart your most successful year yet. Thanks to HoneyBook for sponsoring this video. So this camera is a combination of everything that Sony's come out with until now. And I've seen a lot of comments on Instagram and just people online in general who were never gonna buy this camera, just trash talking it and complaining how Sony made no changes and charged more money for it. And that's honestly so far from reality because everything on this camera has changed except for two things. They used the same full frame 50 megapixel stack sensor and they didn't increase the burst rate. It's still capped at 30 frames per second. Continuous shooting. And outside of that, it's got a brand new body design. It's the same one that's on the A1 Mark III. And this is probably going to be Sony's new body moving forward on all of their cameras coming out, because this is the new generation that Sony's coming out with. So it's got a slightly rounded off body design. It's got that amazing rotating flip screen on it. It's honestly the best screen setup I've seen in any camera. And I assume they're also going to put that on everything moving forward as well. And this kind of just gives you the best of everything that Sony has right now. Of course, it has that new AI dedicated processor for AI subject detection and pose estimation, which if you haven't used it before is incredible, and I've shown it in other cameras over the years. But it's amazing for portraits, especially when the model or subject is moving around in frame or walking towards camera. It just locks on. If they look away from it, it knows it's the back of a head. And it also has all the subject detection modes in it, and it now has an auto mode. So it'll figure out what subject you're shooting and change it to that, because before you had to manually set that. Obviously that isn't revolutionary, pretty much every camera does that, but this is new for Sony. Now it has the best EVF, that 9.4 million dot EVF, 240 frames per second in that EVF, which is really nice. As I mentioned, it has 30 frames per second high speed continuous shooting, and they now have this new speed burst button, the C5 button on the front here, like the A1 Mark III. So you can go from single shots, 10 frames per second, and just hold down the C5 button and it goes straight to 30 frames per second. It's like super boost mode if you need that quick burst. So one other really awesome feature about the A1 Mark II is that it has pre-capture. So essentially you half press the shutter button that you're focusing on something, and it's already starting to take those photos until you actually take your shots. Now the cool thing is you can actually set this to 1 full second. So it can be taking a full second of images before you even take your shot. And if you're a wildlife photographer or sports photographer, this could probably save you if you miss the shot. This also has the best IBIS I've used in any Sony camera. It's up to 8.5 stops, and it also has the active dynamic stabilization as well, which is that crazy digital stabilization on top of that. I've shown that also in other cameras like the ZV-E1. And outside of that, I don't know, you're basically getting full frame, no crop 4K 60p, and a tiny little crop at 4K 120p. Of course, it also shoots 8K 30 frames per second, 10-bit 422. It has ProRes RAW out of the HDMI. And because it has that fast stack sensor, it's got really fast readout, so it has very little rolling shutter. Now I can already see the comments of people trashing on this camera because I've seen them in the past. It does have a high price tag, and it doesn't have internal RAW video like Canon or Nikon. And obviously this camera is more expensive than those cameras. And the Nikon Z8 and the Canon R5 Mark II are way cheaper than this, have nearly the same specs, maybe faster burst rates, and internal RAW video. And so Sony still doesn't offer that in a hybrid camera. They obviously have the ProRes RAW out through the HDMI, but I don't see them adding internal RAW video anytime soon. And I also shoot Sony. I'm in the Sony ecosystem. Sony cameras are super reliable workhorses. I can trust it to get the shot. The autofocus is amazing. And if I need raw video, I'll just use my cinema camera, and I know that it's not going to overheat. I really don't want to have to buy a bunch of new lenses to get into Nikon or Canon. Plus, I just love the smaller size of these Sony cameras and lenses. I can load up my camera bag with a couple bodies, 3 or 4 lenses. Anyway, I'm stoked to get shooting with this bad boy. I've got a job coming up on Monday, and yeah, I'm ready to put this bad boy to work, so stay tuned for more content. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike this video, give it a thumbs down twice. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. See you guys in the next one.